Welcome back to the MicroAdvice CX series on product showcases. These brief product demonstrations highlight startups that are building customer-first solutions right from the start. Today, we are here with Martin Carrica, founder and CEO of Nalu. Martin, thanks so much for speaking with us today.
No, thank you, Jim. Thank you for having us here. We're super excited to share some 20 minutes and talk about Nalu.
Nalu lets you create a modern workstation by organizing access to all of your desktop applications in one single interface, thereby helping you to work more efficiently and effectively. Before we get started with the demo, though, Martin, can you quickly explain some of the origins of the company? So why did you start Nalu?
Perfect. So my co-founder and I, we met recently in person, but we started working months ago, and we were working remotely, of course. And we were kind of like putting together a Frankenstein of tools in order to collaborate and know where each other was, right? So we were using a combination of Google Docs, we were using Notion, we were using GitLab, we were using Trello. We tried a bunch of other tools in the middle, and we were experimenting with like different products. And then we realized, hey, like we've put this like kind of like interconnected system together. Why not bring in to the market, right? So that's kind of how we got started.
Okay, so what problem are you trying to solve in the market? Because I feel like this is a problem that many companies face when interfacing with multiple different tools. So what are you trying to solve?
So the symptoms of the problem that you guys will be most familiar with is you have a Chrome with 100 tabs open. You have a Google Drive where you can never find stuff, right? Then you have the Share With Me, which is a bag of cats. Then if you're trying to find the relevant content inside the tool that you want to use, let's say it's a Figma design, let's say it's a document specification, you're going to go into Slack or email to try to find those things. So coordination and collaboration is way hard because of that, and you're losing a bunch of time. And in the end, you want to be flowing. You don't want to be wasting time trying to find stuff. What are some of the second-degree implications of not being able to find the tools that you need is your one-on-ones are less effective because you have some feedback, but finding the Google Doc for the one-on-one is so hard, you're probably not going to type that in. And then in the conversation, you're not going to remember to bring that up, right? So you have an idea for a feature or some customer feedback that you received, you don't know where to put it because it's hard to find. That's not going to be documented. So everyone is worse off because that knowledge is not documented somewhere that other people can access. The third part of the problem, which is more like the meta, is if someone's new in the company joining, how do they know which files to go after, right? Because we have those files in the Chrome bar and we search for like the files that we know the name. What about the people who don't know the name of the file, which may be a new employee, maybe someone who changed jobs, maybe someone who could benefit from discovering that file, but will never do that unless there's a way to like browse instead of search. So that's the problem we're solving, right? Discovery of artifacts is not only the tool, but it's the artifact inside the tool. So by artifact, we mean it's not Figma, it's the design of the Chrome extension banner that people are going after. They know where to find Figma, they don't know where the banner is. And they don't know if it's in Figma, in Miro, where that sketch got designed. So we're solving that problem of how do you find knowledge very, very quickly.
Okay, very good. And it's definitely a problem I've faced out there. So I'm certain it exists across a broader ecosystem of companies. Martin, final question before we jump into the demo. What type of customer experience are you aiming to offer through this tool that is going to help organize these awesome knowledge gaps?
Yeah, so the name of our company is Nalu. Nalu means wave in Hawaiian. So when you're surfing, you get that feeling of flow throughout that experience of surfing your wave. We want to generate that same experience of flow throughout your day of work. So how do you find the flow? Everything that is context switching, that you have to like spend time on non-value added tasks, breaks that flow. We are building Nalu so that that flow is always there, so that you always find the things that you need and you can browse and constantly be discovering stuff. How do we do that in practice? So there's a couple things. One is speed. So we have native applications that allows us to give you way more performance than a browser-based application. So that's number one. The second is we build the product with an opinion about context switching. So the product doesn't allow more than 5 tabs open at the same time. And the reason for that is you may be going back and forth on a document, but if you have 100 tabs, that means you're having like a mental workload that shouldn't be there. So we're putting an opinion on the product. And the third one is about like easily flowing through content that other people generated and making that super easy. And I'm going to show you a little bit more of that third one in the demo.
All right, that's great. Well, why don't we jump right in and see
Awesome.
what Nalu looks like?
Let me share my screen and let me, so Nalu, as I told you, is a desktop application. When you get started, what you're gonna see on the left side is like an empty workspace. And then on the right side, you're gonna see a landing page. This is my Nalu, so it has a lot more to it because I'm continually working on it. What does a typical workflow of a Nalu user look like? So on the main screen, you have a typical Google Doc, right? So here I can edit this Google Doc, I can share it, I can do whatever I want, which means I don't have to have my whole team switch. I can start using Nalu as a one-person user and start getting value from day one. The good thing is once you start using Nalu, other people will probably start using Nalu because it's so much easier. So the way that you use it is I have a personal folder with stuff that is only for me. I have a Nalu folder, which is the company, and we have product, marketing, engineering, and finances. We're very early, so that's all we need. I have one-on-one folder where I keep the content that I talk with my co-founder, and we have a contractor. We also have one-on-ones with fundraising and legal. And you can think about these folders as like different access spaces, right? So Nalu, everyone in Nalu has access to that, whereas one-on-ones, the folders inside, only the person who I'm talking with has access, fundraising, my co-founder and I, and so on. So it's very visual to think who has access to what. And then sorting content inside is also super easy. Like, let me show you. So if I wanted to move this document inside of like features, let's say, I could just drag and drop it, and that will automatically organize it, not only for me, but for everyone else that's on Nalu. That means that someone who joins and says, okay, I want to see the notes that people are having on user research, everyone can know, and they're very easily accessible here. We're not going to show it not show the names. If you want to see like who the competitors are and like the PM that did the benchmarks on competitiveness, it's very easy to find, right? Like anyone can go in here, see product, and go to benchmarks and start utilizing it. So that's one side, discovery. The second side that I wanted to show you is content creation, right? The idea is Nalu becomes like the place you start creating content. So you can go here and create a new doc, and let's say it's test doc. I created it inside this folder, and in 2 seconds, the doc is open and ready to use. So this is ready. I don't know if you remember using a Google Doc recently. It takes a lot more time. So this is way faster. And then navigating inside is exactly what you remember from a typical Google Doc. You have the exact same functionality inside it. Not only Google Docs, you can add whatever you want, right? Docs, sheets, and slides. These are native creation. And then you can embed any tool that you want from outside, right? So if you go to new web embed, you can put like Trello, with like lots of people, you put Trellos in, you can put Figma designs inside. You can put basically any tool that you want in the context of your Nalu wiki.
How do you share this among the teams? Does each user need to have a separate login, or how does that work for internal sharing?
So each user needs to have their own Nalu account. What you do is very similar to what you would do on Google Docs. That feature is it's getting an overhaul now, so I cannot show it to you. But what you're gonna have is a share button here, and when you open that, it looks very similar to the share in Google Docs. You can add that person's email. If they have an Nalu account, they will directly see that folder that you shared in the root. So let's say I shared user research, they're gonna see user research in the root like here, right?
Okay.
And then that means that everything that happens inside of user research will automatically update for them. And they can also drag and drop it and put it somewhere else. Let's say for them, it's personal. They can put it there, but the content that is updated in that folder will automatically be updated everywhere. If they don't have an Nalu account, they will be prompted to create one, and they can directly access all the content.
So if multiple users within an organization have and are using Nalu, can you share with particular users or teams some particular folders?
Yeah, so that's why if you look at my Nalu particularly, it's separated in different folders. Although
Okay.
everything I do is related to Nalu. Some of that stuff is personal. I don't know. I have like meeting documents. I have a brain dump where I put like content that I'm thinking of. So that's personal stuff that I don't want to share. Then we have like fundraising. This is like me and my co-founder only. And then Nalu is everyone from Nalu, including contractors and so on. They all have access. You can even go deeper and say, okay, I want to add someone to engineering if you have a contractor specifically for engineering. The way that works technically is a person has access to the folder that they were given access, and everyone that has access to parent folders also has access to that folder. So it's very intuitive. It's what you would expect when you add access to someone.
Interesting. Now, what if you want to add a new application? It looks like you had mentioned Trello, and we talked about Google Docs
Yeah,
and Sheets.
let's try it out. So let's go to Trello. So this would be my Trello, right? So I just copy the link. I go in here, and let's say I want to add that to my personal. So I'm going to go to new web embed. I'm going to call it Trello Martin. And then I'm going to add it here, create the embed. So now my Trello is here. I just need to log in because it's a different account. Awesome. So here I have my Trello, and I could have my product here. So that way it's embedded inside, and now I can navigate it as a Trello account here. So you can add everything. Like some people add their Notion for their personal notes inside of Nalu. GitLab in engineering, usually a very common tool, and Figmas. Those are the ones we see the most often.
All right. So it can apply to pretty much any tool then, right? That
Yeah.
you can navigate to. Is there anything that you can't do in Nalu right now?
So Nalu, the way it works, this is a browser.
Mhm.
So we are using the basic element of Chrome, which is Chromium, just for speed's sake. So we are basically Chrome without all the tracking, which makes it slow.
Mhm.
And that means that anything that can run on a browser, you can run in Nalu. There may be some like edge cases where the browser interacts with the hardware in a very specific way. We have not found any of like all of the popular tools you can use. I'm sure there are exceptions, right, that come from the rule.
Okay, this is great, Martin.
Let me show you something else.
Yeah,
Sorry.
go for it.
I told you the objective of this is to kind of like fly through your day, right? So there's two things that we built to make you flow through your work. The first one is a recent. So it's very, like usually you will go through similar files through your day, so you can easily go back to like other files that you have worked with recently, and they load pretty fast. You can also create new tab and open like two files and kind of go back and forth. This is very common. I don't know, you have a spreadsheet on one and you have a Google Slides on another, and you're putting numbers from your OKRs to a presentation. So you will go back and forth through this. The second one is you can search very easily with just a Command E or a shortcut, or using the search bar, and I can go to my say test, to this test doc. I can open it, and it's going to show me the location of where this test doc is, so I can easily kind of like move it, I don't know, somewhere else, and kind of get it done and organized.
Oh, that's really interesting, especially making it easier to find. I know I've personally lost, particularly whenever you have a bunch of tabs open, I've lost, which document I was working on, or sometimes accidentally click a tab. Let's go into that. How about if for some reason a tab gets closed or a tool gets logged out, is there a log that shows you where you left off, or how does that work?
So if you close a tab, let's say I close this test doc tab, right? And I want to go back to it, it's super quick, right? So if you close it and you want to go back to it, it's also here. So I can open it here. If you closed it in the morning and you want to access it in the afternoon and do a bunch of work and it's no longer showing you recent, then you have two ways of accessing it. If you know the name, you can always go to search and find it. And if you don't know the name, but you remember it was something around like Nalu work that was generic, which would be here in this landing, you can also open it from here. So those would be the ways that you would find stuff. So one is search, which people are most familiar with from Google, and the other one is browsing. So let's say I'm going to something deeper, right? So I remember it was something about like benchmarks. So it was something around product. Okay, I'm gonna find it here, right? So okay, onboarding benchmark from Notion. Okay, so what are they showing me? So those are the ways in which you can navigate. You can search or you can browse.
Okay, that's great. Martin, any other key tips or tricks or best practices that you would like to share about Nalu that
Yes.
maybe you've uncovered?
Yeah, so there's most of the files that people send you when they are not Nalu users, they will send them through you through Slack or through email or whatever. You're gonna get a link, right? So what happens when you get that link? When you get that link, we have a Chrome extension that will take you back to Nalu so that you can always stay working in your Nalu location. So this way, that link that they sent you, you open it, the browser sends you back to Nalu. It's faster than using Chrome, so that's good. And then you're already here, right? So you can start working on the document. You can also organize it and so on. And by the way, this is what Nalu is gonna start looking like in a couple of weeks, right? We're gonna give it a little bit more fun and excitingness to the particular documents.
How about support if a user is having issues or maybe looking for more information? How are you delivering some type of support or education?
So we have a tutorial on our website that has like the basic functionality that you would do. So we explain you how to search, how to create files, how to organize your folder, and how to import from Google Drive. That's something I didn't show you, which is pretty awesome. Usually people have their drive kind of organized the way that they want to organize their workspace. So you can always import a files or full folders from your Google Drive. So you can always do that. Going back to support, you have the tutorial. We try to make it as easy as possible. When you log in, we show you a tutorial on the tool. But if you are still having issues, you go and always contact us. I take all those requests and answer in a very timely manner. And if necessary, I hop on calls. I always like to see what users are trying to accomplish, and I also learn a lot from them. So super excited to hop on calls with users all the time.
That's great. Real live voice of the customer feedback there.
Exactly. And you learn a lot, right? Like I'm trying to accomplish this and that. This is how I did it in the past. How can I use it with Nalu? There's usually an answer. And if not, we'll build it.
That's fantastic. Martin, thanks so much for speaking with
Jim,
us today.
Thank you so much for having me. Take care.
Oh, so real quick before we end, if for the listening audience out there, you can find more at www.nalu.fyi. And then also, if you want to showcase another product or service that's delivering a great customer experience, please feel free to find me at www.microadvisors.com. Thanks so much, Martin. This is fantastic.
Thank you, Jim. Take care.
Have a good day.